Okay, so this is our review, and I'm going to talk through each problem and make sure you understand how to do each problem. So, number one says for the following, find the following for each polynomial. They give us a polynomial. We're not trying to solve it. We are just trying to find the discriminant, which is b squared minus 4ac, and tell how many roots and what type of root it is. So for this first one, there is no greatest common factor. We're not trying to factor. So actually, maybe I will try to factor in the last one. But I'm going to say there is no greatest common factor here. So A is equal to 5. B is equal to 2. C is equal to 7. So b squared is going to be 2 to the second power minus 4 times a, which is 5, times c, which is 7. 2 squared is 4 minus, and do that right away, and then say 4 times 5 is 20, and 20 times 7 is 140. So 4 minus 140 is negative 136. That is less than 0. My discriminant is less than 0. So that means I have no real roots and I have 2 imaginary roots. So that takes care of the first one. My second one, I don't have a GCF. So A is equal to 3. B is equal to negative 5. And C is equal to negative 4. I think I can make this bigger for me. All right, so b squared is negative 5 squared minus 4 times a, which is 3, times c, which is negative 4. Negative 5 squared is 25 minus 4 times 3 is 12, and 12 times negative 4 is negative 48. We can't have a double negative. I can't subtract a negative, so I add the opposite. 25 plus a positive 48 is going to be 73. 73 is greater than 0, so I have 2 real roots. Okay. Third problem. I am seeing that I can take out a greatest common factor of 2. So my GCF is equal to 2. When I do that and factor out the 2, I get x squared minus 6x plus 9. Okay. So my A is equal to 1, my B is equal to negative 6, and C is equal to 9. So B squared is negative 6 squared minus 4 times A, which is 1, times C, which is 9. Negative 6 squared is 36 minus 4 times 1 is 4, and 4 times 9 is 36. That's equal to 0. That discriminant is 0, so I have 1 real root. And that should take care of the first problem. All right, so let's go to Next problem. I always have so much trouble. Too far. Not far enough. Pulling this down. Just up a little. Okay. So the next problem says simplify the following expression. We're not solving anything. I'm just simplifying it. And I'm going to follow order of operations, which is PEMDAS. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Okay. So parentheses. I'm going to do one step per line. Anything that I can do inside parentheses, where I actually have to add, subtract, multiply, or divide. That was what I would do first. So here I have 4 plus 3 is 7. I'm going to rewrite everything else just the same. One part of the problem per step. So I've taken care of my parentheses. Now I'll do my exponents. I have 3 squared, which is 9, minus 7 plus 4 times 3 divided by 2. Now I do multiplication or division in order from left to right. So I've got subtraction, addition, multiplication. I see that first. So 4 times 3 is 12. Everything else gets written down as is. Okay. Next I have division. 12 divided by 2 is 6. Everything gets written down. 9 minus 7 plus 6. And then finally I have addition, subtraction from left to right. So 9 minus 7, I'm going to have to do this to the side, is 2. 2 plus 6 is equal to 8. So my answer here should be 8. And I can't bubble in 8 because I would lose it. But you put in 8 and then you bubble in the 8 below, and that would be your answer. All right. So first page is done. If I can get the next page down. And now back up. Okay. All right. So number 3 says simplify the following expressions. Leave your answers as complex numbers. Complex numbers means could have imaginary numbers, meaning I, and what you need to remember is the square root of -1 is equal to I, and I squared is -1. Okay, those are the 2 things you need to remember. All right, so square root of -25 is 25 times -1. I can break those apart and say square root of 25 times the square root of -1. 25 is a perfect square, so the square root of 25 is 5. And I also know times the square root of -1 over here is I. 5 times I is 5i. And that is your simplified answer. All right, next we have, we need to simplify these 2 expressions. They are being subtracted. A couple of things you can do here. This subtraction needs to carry the negative for both of these terms, almost like you're distributing it. So the first term would stay the same, 4 plus 3i. And then we're going to distribute the negative with each of these terms on the inside. So negative of a 5 is minus 5. And then taking the negative of a minus 2i is going to be adding 2i. So I can now put together my constants. I can also put together my I values, which I can treat just like a variable. So 4 minus 5 is going to be negative 1, and 3i plus 2i is plus 5i. I cannot combine my I value or that term with the negative 1, so this is simplified form. All right, the last one, we're just adding everything. So I have a constant of 2 and a constant of 6. Whoops, let me erase this back one. Constant of 6, and I can combine the 8i and the minus 2i. So 2 plus 6, I can combine those and get 8. The 8i minus 2i is going to give me 6i. So combining the 8 and the 6i, I get 8 plus 6i. And that's my simplest form. All right, I'm going to pause here and take a break.